Tonight's episode is about things that get hard and rigid.
And clogged.
Clogged?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Hello.
We're going to talk tonight about some problems.
Yeah. Common problems.
Common problems.
And we did come up with a solution too, so y'all are going to love us.
Yeah. Well, you're going to love Shiva because she has to do all the work.
Yeah, but, once again.
Yeah. Comic relief at the end.
Yeah.
I videotaped the end. Just like a woman. Sorry. Yeah, basically, go ahead and tell them your story because that's fun.
Yeah, this is about pond hoses.
Yeah.
If you have a pond, you are familiar with how many hoses you need to use to feed pumps, to feed it to your filter, feeding it to your waterfalls. You know, we all know about pond hoses.
Right.
They generally look something like this. You know, we all are familiar with these. We know that they come in like 20 or 20
hard
to 30.
And rigid.
Well, no.
And
they're soft at first.
They're soft at first. Yeah, they're not rigid yet.
Yeah. So we all know that they're expensive.
Just like a man.
That they never come in the length you need.
Just like a man. I'm helping.
Yeah, she's helping. And we also know that they don't do well in the elements, and that you are constantly having to replace these, like, you know, every year or so. Especially here in. We're never getting through this episode.
No, we're not getting through the episode. Sorry, go ahead.
Especially like here where we have the sun beating down on them at like a gazillion degrees. Thank you, global warming.
Right.
Thank
you, Florida.
Yeah, thank you, Florida.
Yeah.
What happens is, you know, they start out all nice and soft and flexible, and you get them where you want, and then after a while, they get to the point, they get hard and rigid, and you can't even freaking move them.
And then they crack.
They crack, they break. You start seeing, you know, you start seeing water spitting out of your pond, and you find out you have a crack in your hose. They don't
last.
They don't last.
Especially not somewhere in our, but they don't last long. I don't think anywhere. I don't think it's just us.
They can freeze just as much as they can, boil. But
and then for Florida's fun, we also add clogging.
Yes, and then. Well, you get this a lot in the springtime, or in the fall actually, is when you can the leaves start going into the ponds.
Right.
And all that stuff gets sucked into your filter. Next thing you know, you got clogged tubes.
Yeah, just takes the little leaves. So so Shiva had a little bit of an incident. Mm-hmm. It's been lasting about a week now to take you to finally figure out what's going on that you can fix it.
Basically, what happened was the way that my big pond, the Pond from Hell. Where did we get that name?
A relaxing hobby pond.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Basically, I have it split off from the pump. I have the tubing split off to two places. It splits off to the main filter, where half the water is supposed to be diverted to the filter, and the other half is supposed to go to the two waterfalls.
The waterfalls, yeah.
And I was noticing that my waterfalls were getting sluggish, and I thought, okay, that's kind of weird. So I figured, okay, it's probably my tubes are getting old, and there's probably a leak somewhere, which, to be fair, there was. But not...
Is that a man or a woman? Sorry, go ahead.
But it wasn't the entire problem. So I spent, a couple days ago, I spent replacing a lot of the hoses. Now, we'll be talking about this a little later on, but I've been slowly converting my hoses to something that's a lot easier and a lot cheaper, and I will get back into that later. But as far as the clogging is concerned, I came home late on a Wednesday night and noticed that my pond was dropped by 2 feet. Now, fortunately, that fail-safe that I put in to make sure that the pond will never get completely drained accidentally.
Which we talked about in the previous episode, where we raise up the filter. Yeah.
Basically, the pump is up on a couple cinder blocks, so it's higher. It's not on the ground of the bottom of the pond. So when this happens, fortunately, it works like a dream, and my pond was not completely devoid of water. My fish were all still alive.
Right.
But my pond was significantly dropped because something was spitting water. So I'm looking around. We're out of here with flashlights because, of course, this happens at 3 in the morning.
Of course it does.
We come to discover that my filter box is overflowing. Just way too much water being diverted into it. It's overflowing, and that's what's throwing water out of the pond. So we just very quickly grabbed our spare pump, threw it in there, ran the hose to the bridge, secured it so it can at least get water, aeration to the fish, and called it a night. And the next morning.
Of course, they didn't videotape it. But that's
well,
okay.
It was impossible.
Slackers.
No moon.
I know.
No light out there.
Yeah, no light. Your flashlights. Yep.
You would have seen a disco show, and that's it. If we would have tried to videotape it. So then next morning, Gareth and I went out there, and we're thinking, okay, it's got to be, there's got to be a problem with the hoses. And sure enough, we did see a crack in one, but that wasn't diverting enough water for it to do that to the pump. So I thought, okay, we'll replace some hoses and we'll see what happens. Well, it worked for 2 days, and then this morning, I go out there and
again,
sure enough, my water's dropping, and I'm looking, and sure enough, too much water's going to the filter because water's not getting diverted properly. And that's when I realized that my nice black hoses are filled with leaves.
And it's not something you can just like...
Yeah, and
I was going to say blow out, but that would have started me off again.
No, what I would normally do is just, take the hose, the water hose, and
push the water through it, do a jet through it, right.
But unfortunately, the hoses are so rigid that it just,
yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, so they're going to
They're laughing at her.
Yeah, so they're going to get replaced too with the same materials.
Yeah.
So because I use a really, really high-powered pump in the Pond from Hell, it's not like a, you can't just use any tubing with it.
Right.
You really have to use this really thick, 2-inch tubing.
Right.
Which is really freaking expensive, and I was getting tired of replacing it, so I figured this out last year.
Right, I remember you were talking, I think you talked a little bit about it, but you were going to test it out and let everybody know.
Right, so I figured it out early last year, and I've been running with this idea ever since, and it's been working like a dream. And that is pull tubing.
Okay.
I know it doesn't look like much, but this stuff is durable as hell. It stays soft, per se. We knew that was coming. But
I'm trying so hard not to...
But basically, it can fit over, up to, a 2-inch piece of PVC. So I run it from my filter where I have the water dispersant thing, which I made out of PVC, which we do have an episode on.
Right, and I think we have some. I think we have some of it on video with this attached to it.
Yeah, I taped it. But basically, you get this stuff, and you get a few of these fun little ring clamps. Stick them on there, and you could actually attach these to pieces of existing hose. I have in fact found a use for this stuff, and that's to be able to connect them to smaller hoses.
Smaller hoses, yeah.
By just connecting them this way, and it works out great. I've not had to. I thought I was going to have to replace these, which is why I did replace all of this stuff, and then I found out it was
not those. Yeah.
It wasn't this. But this stuff, it's built to last in extreme temperatures, including like chlorine water.
Right.
So it's built to last.
So it's actually a good alternative for the hoses. Mm-hmm. And she's gonna, I guess, do that. That's your next project, is to replace the hoses with that.
Well, I've already replaced the hoses with this. It's just this stuff. I have to find a smaller version to do the waterfalls with.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but this is what I've been using for my main, attaching the pump to the splitters and stuff like this, and it's been working out great. I haven't had any problems with the cracking. Once you screw that stuff down tight with the ring clamps. Wow.
I'm not saying it. See, look at that. See?
Yeah. But it's...
I get bonus points.
Mm-hmm. And then it's easy to control the water flow on this too. Like right now, because I still have that clog going on, what I did was I kinked this at the top of the filter so it doesn't let quite as much water go through, and that's what's stopping it from overflowing right now. So I really do recommend using just plain old pull hosing. I think I got, I want to say 50 feet of it for about $14, which if you know how much 50 feet of the regular black hosing would have cost, you're talking in the ballpark of anywhere from $80 to $100. This is a freaking deal.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad that works.
Yeah.
So, she's still got a little tiny bit of work to do on the pump, but
yeah,
on the pond.
I have to replace the tubes going to the waterfalls is all I have to do at this point. But yay, fun!
Now, do they sell that in a smaller half size, or do you know?
I think so. I just got a big roll because I know that I'm going to be replacing a lot of different tubes as they wear out. I'm going to be replacing tubes with this stuff. Okay. So I got a bigger roll, but I think you can pick it up at like Yeah, maybe 10 feet, 20 feet.
Yeah, no, I mean width-wise. Do they have it width-wise smaller? So
you know, I honestly have no idea. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen similar, not exactly for pools, but for like other type of plumbing projects. I've seen it at half this size. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on Tuesday when I got the day off.
Woohoo! Yay!
But
work
yeah,
is fun.
Yeah, but this stuff has been incredibly durable, and I mean, I have the hose exposed to the elements, and it's been like that since last spring, and it's been
fine.
Fine. I mean, it does just color a little bit. It went from being this blue to being like a turquoise color, and I talked to a guy who does pools and asked him about it, and he said that that's normal.
Okay.
So this stuff has been working like a dream.
So hard rigid out. Soft
Nice,
and pliable in.
Mm-hmm.
See, not like a man. Hard rigid is bad. Oh, sorry. But anyway,
yeah.
Like, subscribe, share, comment below. We're still trying to make Koirana. We're going to go on some field trips this year now that it's warming up again.
Yeah.
I was looking into a couple places that I wanted to go to, but one of them's being worked on right now. They got it closed for renovation. The one down that you messaged me about. But we still want to go on some field trips, so stay tuned for that. Always fun at Shiva's house with with the crazy stuff that happens here.
Yeah, the stuff that happens in the middle of the frickin' night, because of course it does.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah, that's another thing for pond owners. Anything that it's not going to happen when you have the day off and you have nothing planned for the day. It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen then.
It's going to happen.
Always happens when you're
you know, it's going to happen when you've been out drinking or when you've been out working and you
drinking
come
would
home.
be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking 3 o'clock in the morning is because Gareth and I were out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's always going to happen then, you know.
Right, absolutely. Always.
No lights,
yeah, you know. Never going to happen in the light of the day.
Or it's going to be like, 30 degrees below zero at the time.
Or storming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thunder, lightning. That's happened.
So, if you can come up with a easier solution for things, by all means do it.
Yeah, let us know.
I love the pool hose. It has been, it's been a lifesaver.
Yeah, and if you have any comments of what you use, if it's different, or if you know where to get the smaller hose, or if you something else that you do that works for you, let us know. We're happy to learn. You know, I mean, we're happy to learn new stuff about any of this. We're always learning, always changing, always adapting, because the stuff out there is crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's never simple. And Shiva's all about keeping it, cheap and on the down low and making it herself. So
yeah,
because it's an expensive hobby. I mean, a very relaxing, cheap hobby. That's what I meant.
Yeah. It's really expensive and time consuming.
Yeah.
But, and then on top of it all, we're here in Florida where the temperatures can be brutal in the summer.
Right.
And that can, practically melt your hoses. So
yeah, let us know though what you use. We'd love to know.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that a lot of people do things with just PVC pipe and everything, which is great as long as you can keep your joints together. Now, I've run into that problem with using the high-powered pump with the water going, and I put my water disbursement in my filter together with PVC, and if I don't have those joints together real quick, that shit blows apart.
Oh, it was hysterical. I wish I'd gotten that video. It was just funny.
It did it again to me today, too.
Did it? Nice. I missed it again? Dang, that's twice now.
Yeah,
oh, well.
So there's always going to be, you really want something that's all one piece.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen here. I'm pretty sure this house is... pretty sure this house is cursed and there's craziness going on.
I mean, that's why I like the pool tubing, because I can do that all in one piece. I don't have to do separate pieces of PVC that make it go the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, because PVC does not... I mean, it's pliable, but it's not that pliable that you don't have to...
Yeah, but I'm talking about the PVC piping.
Oh, the white piping.
Yeah, the white piping. Okay. I mean, you have to use all these elbow joints and everything. If it blows, you can get a geyser, which is why I don't use that. I tried once, and that was a water cannon. So
works for me. Just aim it at one of your husbands.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, subscribe, share, comment below. We would love to hear your comments. We'd love to hear your ideas. If anything fun has ever happened to you in your pond.
Yeah.
I say fun sparingly, I guess, or not. That's not the right word.
She's talking about disasters with hoses.
Disasters are always fun to talk about. And I always miss the fun ones because I've always missed when it's...
Which reminds me, one thing I forgot to mention, when you're using the ring clamps, always use 2. I double clamp everything because, they are made of metal. I mean, these are very thin metal. They will wear out over time.
Okay.
So you always want to double clamp because they're not going to both go at the same time. And if they do, you are very, very, very unlucky. But that way, if one goes, it's not blowing your.
And you should
your
check
hose
them
off.
periodically.
Yeah,
Just to check them because they do rust and break.
I mean, the ones that I have in there right now, I've had in there since we built the pond from hell, and that's been
And they're still going.
2 years, and they're still fine.
But still, check
But
them.
you do want to check them because I have had these rust out before, so you want to double clamp.
Yeah.
That way, they're not going to both go at the same time, and that way you've at least got one holding if another one breaks. And
Gives you time.
yeah.
Gives you time.
It gives you, and that time is important rather
Time is
than having
important.
geyser
Geyser of water and water coming out of the pond.
And then on top of it all, you're not going to find these at like your local Walmart. You'll find the smaller sizes. You'll find like this size, but you're not going to find the gigantic ones
Right.
at your local Walmart. So you can't go at 3 o'clock in the morning to.
Can't go there anyway at 3 o'clock in the morning anymore.
Well, some places you can, but
Yeah.
or you have to wait 24 hours for Amazon or whatever. So always have these on hand too. These are
Yeah.
in my kit.
Yeah, she has a kit.
Yeah, you always want to have a pond repair kit or a pond emergency kit. Always keep a few of these, but double clamp that way. If one goes, they won't. You at least have something holding everything together.
Hopefully. But yeah, by all means comment. We'd love to hear from you. We still want to make Koi Rana eventually.
Yeah.
We haven't given up on that.
Yeah, at
on
the
that.
rate we're going, it'll be our retirement plan.
Well, hey, whatever.
Yeah, here
We'll
we are.
make it
Here we are
eventually.
with like walkers and wheelchairs running from fish.
Well, and they might catch us. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear from you.
Mhm.
And you have a great day.
Bye.